last couple things here that I'll share with you guys, just again, sort of give you guys these things to think about a little bit is, well, what if I still want to go with a traditional publisher, right? Which again, there's something nice about sort of saying, hey, listen, Simon & Schuster published my book, or Random House. There's actually 5 publishers that we call the Big 5, and those are ones that have a reputation. You know them by name. Again, sort of those Big 5 publishers are a little bit like going to the Ivy Leagues, right? It still kind of like has some cachet to go to a really good school. So what if you still want to go in that route? Interesting thing to understand here is that there's actually emerging to be what we call the new path towards traditional publishers. So if you go back to the same thing, remember, traditional publishers are looking for big hits, right? They're not looking for sort of small movies. If you think about it in this, or small books, if you think about it a little bit like the movie industry, right? The movie industry is looking for like Avengers. Like that's what they want. They want big hits. But there's still a market for these small indie press. So some ways what they're looking for is that sometimes those small indie movies might get repicked up and redistributed by bigger publishers. That's kind of what happens. So 2 examples here, friends of mine here, a guy named Nir and a guy named Max. Both of them did either self-published or hybrid publishing of their books. Originally, Nir published his book, Hooked, put it out there, and basically, like, it started to get a lot of traction, and people started coming to him. Max, the same thing, put out this one. The original version of it that it was published was in blue. Wiley saw the traction he was getting and picked it up. So what's happening now is this. Essentially, once your book has about 100 5-star reviews or so, suddenly people start to take interest that there's sort of traction behind this book and are interested in sort of republishing the book in that regard. So again, sort of the idea behind it, what you're seeing here is if your goal is to do a traditional publishing, they're not going to believe you and say, oh yeah, like tell me, Laura, why is your book going to sort of sell 10,000 copies? You're like, well, just trust me. Instead, if you can wind up showing traction, that's the way that it happens more and more today. So again, my point is not to say that it's good or bad. Definitely, if you want to publish with a big publisher and you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend it if you can make the economics work out. But the important thing to understand is that they live in a world now that says, trust me. Like it says, let me show you proof as opposed to just trust me in that sort of regard behind it. So that's kind of the path behind that one. So again, I think the key things as you think about being the author as owner is own your rights is sort of a big important thing. Get the book out quickly. So again, you can start to build that early momentum, extend the life of the book, and ultimately focus on the opportunities the book presents to you rather than sort of, again, trying to focus and concentrate those sorts of things. Again, those are the sort of things that fit together. Yes?
This might be a naive question, but what does owning your rights intend? Like if you want to move to entail? Like if you want to move to a different publisher, does that?
Exactly. That means you can, right? So if you publish the book, you are 100% owner of it. You can sort of, again, license the rights to them, or you can enter into different kinds of arrangements in that way where you can give them partial rights or all rights in that way. Again, sort of the key thing is to sort of give yourself the opportunity where you decide kind of how you want to give your rights away or use partial rights in that sort of regard.